Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another podcast episode of She Speaks Her Mind, your go-to, your host, your comfort person, Anna Pedron. Welcome back. I'm so happy you guys are here and always grateful for you guys listening. So we are just going to hop right into this podcast episode because there's so much to talk about and I'm not sure how long this episode is going to be. So I know for a lot of us, we have trouble with caring about what other people think of us. And this is why I want to talk about this podcast episode today, because I feel like for a lot of us in this generation, or even the generation after me, we have a little bit of trouble with focusing on ourselves rather than just always focusing on what other people think about us. But before we get into this podcast episode, I actually wanted to state the fact that I'm not wearing lashes. I know this is not a big deal for everybody who is watching, but I'm kind of making it a big deal because for the longest time, you guys, I have been wearing lashes for 5+ years every single day, no matter where I went. And I think it's gotten to a point where I told myself, one day I'm going to have to eventually stop wearing lashes because I'm going to be old at that age. I want to be confident with who I am. So then I thought to myself, why don't I be confident now with not wearing lashes and becoming unbothered? So this is why I'm saying it in this podcast episode, because it kind of relates to the topic of it. And I'm only getting used to it now because I haven't really worn lashes in over a month. And the only time I would really wear lashes is if, I'm actually going out and doing something and going out with friends, or I just wanted to get ready for my own self. But a lot of the times I've just been chilling with just my natural features. And lately I've just been feeling really confident because you know what? I do like the way I look without it. And it may look a lot different for someone who is just seeing this now, but you really get used to it yourself when you actually accept the way you look and love yourself for the way you look. So I'm kind of on this no lash journey with just being confident with wherever I am. And yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I think this just all comes with confidence as well and just loving yourself from inside and out. So while I make this podcast episode, I am not 100% there yet. Like I am in no way, shape or form perfect with, truly not giving a fuck yet. I will get there. But for now, I still get those moments where I do overthink it a little too much, but then I think about it if I were in someone else's shoes. For example, let's say a friend of mine. They are not going to judge me for me, so why am I thinking of what someone else could possibly be thinking if they probably never thought about it in the first place? I used to be this shy little girl. I don't recognize her at all anymore though. And it's also not about putting yourself into this identity, thinking that is the person you think you are, or else you're going to claim yourself in that category for the rest of your life. I've said this before, but I think if things that bother you a lot more than they should, that could also probably stem from your past trauma, and that is something that you need to heal. Let's say if they did bother me and that's how they actually felt about me, then so what? What are you gonna do? Change for them? Try to get their validation from making improvements about yourself? Probably not, because they are probably just a stranger to you, or if this is someone that you are close with or that mean a lot to you, I think there would be a different direction that you would go with this, and you would maybe have a conversation with them about it. A little bit of a water break because we need to hydrate ourselves. If I were to even look back a few years ago, all I can say is that I know my mindset has drastically changed from what it was to what it is now. And I'm just going to give you guys an example here because this was how I felt at the time, but now I am actually unbothered by it because you do it so many times. You are so consistent with it where it just becomes a habit where people know that you are posting. People know that you're going to be on their feed and it just becomes a habit. So if you are someone who just wanted to start posting online and you're scared of what people will say, what people will think of you and judge you, you never know where this could go for yourself. Even just by you wanting to post stuff, this is actually making you confident. If you want to post your silly little morning routine, your silly little workout vlog, no one is stopping you. If you want to post your figurines online or, some creative side hobby that you decided to do and you wanted to post videos about it, no one is stopping you. You're creating this illusion in your head where you think everyone is going to judge you. But for a matter of a fact, 1 out of 10 people will say something, but the rest, they would actually be amazed by what you do. So I do love talking about protecting my peace, because in these circumstances or situations, they shouldn't cost me my peace. Whatever I do in life or things that I love to do, I should really only focus on things that bring me joy, because I'm never going to be truly happy if I'm always constantly thinking about what other people are thinking of me. And I know a lot of you guys came here from a podcast episode with moving out of a toxic household and, learning to let go. So this is coming from trying to get the validation from my family of always trying to get them to like me. When I was younger, I would always try and get their validation because I didn't want them to not like me. There was always a certain way that I had to dress for them, and there was a certain way that I had to act. But I realized that I had to stop caring about these things, because the opinions of what my family would say behind my back were very vile, I would say, and it was just something that I didn't want to hear, but yet I still continued on to try and get their validation. So even if they're blood related or not, you still have to be authentically you, because we can't keep portraying a fake persona for others when we know who we genuinely are. And if you are scared to be your authentic self to your friends, are they really your friends if they are going to be judging you? There would be many times in my life where I would make up these random scenarios in my head of what could happen, and I would always make a big deal about them because I wanted to make sure that I was perceived a certain way. But when it actually came time to going to that place, at some point I forget what certain way I was supposed to be perceived, and I just started being authentically myself, and I just ended up and acting like myself. So with that being said, no one thinks about you as much as you think about yourself. So I think we need to rewire our brain and cognitive thought process, because to me, this seems like just a psychological thought, right? I have never taken psychology, but practice does make perfect when you find methods that work for you, because you can become unstoppable. We need to understand why we care so much. For example, you fear people will make fun of you, scared you will make mistakes, or even worried about you losing friends. We need to prove to our mind that people actually care less than you think you do. Ask yourself questions like, do I remember every single detail about someone I know with what they did 1 week ago? No. Do I remember all the Instagram stories that people have posted a week ago, yesterday, 1 month ago? No. So just remember that not everyone is going to be focused on your life, so just keep doing your thing. Okay, so this is a good one that I just thought of. When I was younger, or even in my teen years and my early 20s, I used to try and get everyone to like me, but then I realized that no matter how kind I am to someone, there's always going to be someone in the room that doesn't like me, and they don't need to know me to like me. No matter how I look, dress, or the way I act, there's always going to be someone that says some things maybe I don't want to hear. Someone watching this could be thinking, she's annoying, I hate her, I don't like her, I don't have a reason, I just don't like her, or I don't like what she has to say. With someone that has an opinion like that and still continues on to maybe watch my content but yet still doesn't like me, I could either let those comments, opinions get to me, or I can move on and keep doing what I do, because doing this podcast fulfills me. And it's something that I love to do. So why am I gonna waste my time with comments like those? Especially, it could just be the 1% that doesn't like me, or who knows, it could be a lot of people and I don't know that. But why would that stop me from doing something I love? I always tell you guys on social media, especially TikTok, to not take things personally, because lots of the time when people have problems with themselves, they will project it onto you. They will project it onto us. Ooh, wait, hold up. Can I do a story time? Wait, why am I asking this? This is my podcast. I can do whatever I want. But I love story times because I feel like it's just something that a lot of people can relate to. People just want to hear. Or, I'm warning you right now. I'm giving you this advice because this is coming from personal experience, and I don't want you guys to be stuck in the same situation I was. But maybe you guys come across this situation because according to my analytics, a lot of you guys are younger than me. So I'm assuming that a lot of you guys are still in high school or just getting into college. But this is why I like to give you guys these personal experiences, because I want to be like your big sister, kind of show you guys the ropes and what things not to do when you're dealing with situations like this. So as you guys know, you absolutely love my aesthetic vlogs, right? Well, according to some people, there's people out there that don't like them, and that's okay. I'm not here to want you to try and get to like my vlogs, because why are you following me in the first place? Anyways, you guys tell me how immature or mature she is with the reaction she gave back to me when I responded to a story of hers. I made this cute little fun aesthetic nighttime routine vlog about protecting my peace. 10 minutes later, there was an Instagram story of a girl that I follow because we know each other and we knew each other from high school. We were kind of not friends. We were just like in the same friend group. So that's why I followed her at that point. But she made a story after my video got posted, and she said something like, these girls posting about protecting their peace, but they're so out of touch with reality, they need a real job. So I was kind of hesitant to ask her and message her asking, is this about me? I don't know why. I presumed to even ask her if it was about me, and obviously with this coincidence, it was. So I genuinely asked her, I'm like, I'm just wondering, is this about me? In like the nicest way possible, not saying like it in a very rude tone. But after that, 10 minutes later, she responded with a low-key but high-key with putting me on blast with how she felt with the lifestyle that I created for myself, and then just goes on about some random tangent and complaining about, there's people out there that can't afford to pay for their groceries, their rent, their bills, and assuming that I was a stay-at-home girlfriend and never worked a day in my life, and apparently just very out of touch, she says. And then something about, if I can't handle these adult conversations, then I need to be checked, something like that. And when I read like this whole ass paragraph, it kind of threw me off because I'm like, holy shit, where did this come from? And I was low-key inspired with the things that she posted online. And to come across this, I was like baffled. I didn't even know what to say. I really took a step back and took a deep breath and really thought about what response I'm going to say to her, because A, I could have given her a really nasty, petty response, or B, I could give her a response that she thought she would never get because she thought that I would react to it. I realized this was not my problem. She has things that she's dealing with in her personal life that she's just projecting onto me. Because the way she responded to just a simple question of mine, she was really going through it. So I hope she's doing well. But if you guys want me to be honest, old me would have responded trying to explain everything. But at that point, I don't need to waste my time trying to tell my side of a story or an opinion to someone who would just not give two shits. Like, in this paragraph of hers, there were points that I was genuinely agreeing with her, because I'm like, yeah, there are people out there that have trouble with living their day-to-day life and not being able to pay for their necessities that they need. So I wasn't sure where she was going with that, because I feel the exact same way. Like, before this whole social media thing, I was working from job to job, trying to find a job that I could stay at. But then I never wanted that for myself. I wanted to do something more than that. Like, there are people in this life that, have a mission to just want to do different things other than the traditional way where people go to school and then find a job and retire by 60 or 70. And some people don't want to live like that, especially in this generation. People don't want to be working anymore and they want to live the life that they want to. So that's why I realized I was not made to work a 9-to-5 job. I was working like a receptionist call center job, and I would just edit videos while I was there. I downloaded a software and edited my YouTube videos when I wasn't supposed to. So I found ways because I just wanted to create a lifestyle for myself that I know that I could accomplish. And here we are. With this being said, like, doing my, silly little TikTok videos, my silly little YouTube videos, it got me somewhere. And I tell you guys this too, I am so grateful because I can pay for my necessities. What I think it just really came down to was just her being envious about the lifestyle I created for myself. And to her, it may seem unrealistic. And it could be unrealistic to a lot of people because not everyone's just gonna be able to work from home and have a morning routine like mine. And that's okay. So with this whole story time, this is just a perfect example of learning how to be unbothered and not giving people the reaction they want, because they want you to be angry. They want you to lash out and reply to them with petty remarks so that they have something to say back. But with the response I gave her, it was so genuine that she never responded back to me. She read the message, she never responded back to it, but she still continued to follow me the next day. And that says a lot about me when I gave them no reaction. But anyways, I blocked her ass because I didn't need that energy in my life. And it makes me realize that I didn't do anything wrong because all I did was just grow and chase after my dreams. And she got mad. So this also got me thinking that even if I knew to not give a nasty reaction, I also have to accept for myself that people will have these opinions of me. So whether she knows me or not, people are always going to have opinions of me. So this is giving you guys an example with whatever you want to do out there that makes you happy and you're scared to do it. There's always going to be some sort of opinions, but if you don't let that get in the way, you are going to be so unbothered. We're just going to keep continuing to prosper and grow and be able to keep posting. Concluding to that story, I have another story time. I don't know if you guys like hearing these story times. Please let me know because I have so many things that I would love to say. It's just I want to hear your guys' opinions of, yeah, I do want to hear more story times of what has happened in your life so that it doesn't happen to me. So I feel like a lot of you girls will come across situations like this because I feel like it's inevitable if you are in high school and you just like have a big bunch of girlfriends and, you know, maybe some of them are fake and you want to hide it because you're just friends with all of them. So this was a few years ago before I decided I'm cutting you all off. That's something I'm good at, but it was for the better. And it's always such a gut feeling too, like when you know these people are not meant to be in your life, because now it feels good to not hear gossip all the time. I don't like gossip. I don't like drama. So this is why I had to say bye, wish you well, still protecting my peace. Goodbye. Anyways, when me and Brayden moved out for the first time, which was 2 years ago now, I've always dreamt of just like having a girls' night or just having people over. I've always wanted to be someone who would host things because at the time when I used to live at my parents' house, I would always host things and have my friends over. So now that I got to a point where I was able to host these parties, I was excited. I invited about like 5 or 6 girls over and we had such a good time. I'm not gonna lie. Like everything was fun except for the gossiping part. And this also just goes by the topic with this podcast episode. So a few of them left. It ended up being the 5 of us, including me. Also, I want to preface with the story time that I just talked about with that girl. Yeah, she was invited to the girls' night because this girl was friends with another girl that I was friends with. So I decided, why not have a girls' night? This would be so much fun. And if she is watching this podcast episode or listening to it, she might not even be a hater. She might be a fan because why are you watching my content if you are talking shit about me? Because this will go all hand in hand when I talk about the story time. I just love this tea because I can talk to you guys about it. Other than that, there's no one who I would talk about it with. We had like this charcuterie night and everyone brought like their own foods and we had like our own drinks that we would make for each other. And that part was really fun. But when we got to the coffee table and we were sitting around the coffee table, we all started talking about this one girl in our hometown where she made it. She is successful. She is that bitch. And I'm saying like, she is that bitch by, wow, I am inspired by her. We were talking about this girl and I was astounded. Honestly, I was baffled by the amount of how much shit they were talking about her. It was just horrible to hear. First of all, they were talking about her podcast and saying how boring she sounded and saying how her boyfriend pays for everything or how she never really made it. Yet one of these girls posted on their story one day. She always rambles on her stories and just going on and on about something where she said that she would love to have a podcast because all she does is talk. So it was just like kind of contradicting. It was just the irony of it was funny to me that you want to have a podcast one day, but you are shit talking about a girl that has her own podcast that is successful. And here you are, just being a negative Nancy. There was just so much going on in this conversation where I almost like defended the girl who they were talking shit about. Cause I'm like, guys, she's doing pretty well. I don't know what's up your guys' ass, but like at least she's doing something. I didn't say that, but that was in my head. And after all this kerfuffle, who the fuck says kerfuffle? I guess I do. Anyways, after all this kerfuffle, the morning after, I asked myself, what the fuck did I just do? And why did I invite these girls over? Because the more that I thought of it, if I wasn't in the room, I realized that if they all talk shit like this, they would do the exact same thing to me because I'm pretty much in the same career path as her. You know, like I may not be as successful as her, but at least I'm inspired by what she does so I can get to a point like that. So it just made me think like, if I wasn't in the same room as them, they would probably be talking shit about me too. And I don't doubt that they don't talk shit about me. Anyways, moral of the story, trust no one. Just kidding. But this is why I'm very cautious with who I allow in my life because that energy is preserved for people who are worth it. And I'm just very aware because I don't want that negative energy affecting my own life. A lot of those years, I've been stuck in that negative energy, and now that I have control over it, I can set boundaries. So always make sure to fill your own cup because I was drained when I had this type of negative energy in my life. And you know, someone could say the same about me where I could be negative in their life. And that's something that I can't control now because maybe that's who I was in the past. And you know, I never really thought about it that way. Some people have the same opinion that I have of them. And you know, it goes both ways. So if you really want to become unbothered, you have to figure out what are things in your life that you find important because you are obviously searching for the wrong things that you care too much for because that doesn't matter. You know, the things that genuinely matter to us is family, relationships, and like our career path. Other than that, why are we caring so much about what other people think of us when we could do so much in this world if we didn't have this negative thought process that we do to ourselves? And I guess it is just us as human beings where we are going to think of things that even if they are negative, it's something that we can't control. But learning to accept that, learning to accept and move on from that situation, we're going to be able to just prosper and grow when we finally stop giving a fuck. So to sum this all up, this is all about the confidence, radiance, the love and acceptance we see within ourselves to become unbothered. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast episode. If you guys want me to make a part 2 of this and really go deep into the details with knowing more about how to not actually care, and maybe you guys didn't like the story times, let me know. If you have made it all the way through this podcast episode, make sure you give this podcast episode a 5-star rating. It would really help with the show and for newcomers to find a new podcast to listen to because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are trying to find a new podcast out there that people can relate to. Let me know what you guys think of this episode in the show notes on Spotify. Comment down below on YouTube if you're watching, and do all the things with supporting me in any way you can. I appreciate and love you guys so much, and I will see you guys next week.